Hey there everyone, it's AJ Van Rixel and it is time for another video. And in today's video, I am going to be doing sort of a bit of art for my book cover for my up and coming novel, The Tears of Siren Sacrifice. And whilst I was doing that, I thought I'd have a little talk about sort of fear and creative fear. That is kind of like what I have got on my mind at the moment. So I was just kind of like thinking a bit about it and like how I've overcome it in the past and things like that, and how I've actually overcome it recently to come up with an idea for a little video series. So I thought I'd start off by just saying a little bit like why I've come up with this sort of idea, and just as a sort of like little bit of commentary and things, and I'm kind of doing it on the fly a little bit as well, whilst I try and do like figure some things out. So I was talking to someone, or I watched a video as well from somebody that kind of like did a sort of little audio blog type thing, or a podcast, or however you want to refer it to. And he was talking about how he is struggling with like almost a sort of thing that's holding him back and not being sure of what he wants to do and things like that. And it kind of got me thinking it's kind of like a bit like sort of fear of showing your art to, or even whatever it is that you're creating, to other people. And this is what got me kind of like interested in this whole thing, because I've been doing now art and writing even since like 2012, and I've initially started off by like kind of not thinking that I would get anywhere with it, and sort of being hesitant with it, and kind of like not going all the way. And it kind of like was a sort of, I kind of wanted to write whilst I was in high school, but because I was focused on getting what I needed to do in order to survive, like getting a job that had decent wages and things like that, I kind of like had this fear where I couldn't really focus on it, and I had to figure out a sort of thing before I could even consider doing that, a sort of backup. And that's what I did. I won't say that doing a backup is a bad thing. It's always good to have a backup. I mean, if I hadn't have done this, if I hadn't have got like a sort of normal typical job with an insurance company, if I hadn't got a normal typical job, I wouldn't be able to afford some of the things that I've got. I mean, I might have been able to build it up eventually, but some of the things like my drawing tablet and things like that have come from purely working my day job, as it were. But over the years, whilst I've been working there, for 8 years. Whilst I've been working there, before I got back into writing and stuff, I started to feel like a sort of empty feeling in the pit of my stomach, which I considered was like a sort of melancholy type thing, where I was not really sure. I knew that like I didn't want to be there for forever, and it was like kind of like an ends to a means sort of thing. But I decided that I needed to get back into it, and I was like gaming a lot and just coming home doing that and then going away. So I wasn't really using my time wisely, and I suppose I kind of my driving point forward was this sort of idea of, I've got these ideas flowing in my head and I need to get them out, and I need to do that. And that's when I discovered National Novel Writing Month. I knew that I liked writing, and I like creating characters, creating worlds and things like that. So I knew that I liked that, and it is something that I've always considered that I might do in the future. Obviously, at that time, I hadn't really thought of it. And now I can look back and I can figure out that, yeah, that was what I wanted to do. I've got 2 novels released independently, and I've got just this sort of extra, like, the drive now to do that. And it's kind of like, initially when I first started out, like, writing and things like that, I kind of just like decided that I was going to write for myself because nobody was really going to want to watch it. And I like had this sort of fear that if I did send it out, people wouldn't like be receptive to it, people wouldn't read it and things like that. And then I was kind of like got to the point where I was like doing this stuff, and I wasn't really happy with like where it was going and things, and then I started to like feel more sort of that sort of same feeling again when I was at work and not doing what I wanted to do. Then I listened to a song that somebody introduced me to, which kind of resonated with me, and it's kind of stuck with me. And I always go back and listen back to this song if I'm starting to feel as though I'm losing track or losing focus on what I want to do. And the song is "Eye of the Storm" by the Crook Shadows, which thing I believe. And one of the lines, this is like the biggest line in there that resonates with me, and that is, "There's no courage without fear." So yes, fear is a part of our lives. It's an underpinning thing, but you can't have courage unless you've got that fear initially to overcome. And I just feel as though that is a sort of thing. So if we've got the fear to do something, that's a good thing. We need to have that fear. Otherwise, we won't feel anything once we've created something. And it's a sort of, it goes hand in hand. So as creators, we're going to feel that fear a lot more than what you would do if you weren't creating. If you were just going home to do your job, going to do your job, coming home, sitting and watching TV, you wouldn't have that fear. But because we are creators, we've got to overcome the biggest hurdle first, which is ourselves. We are our own worst critics, and if we look at something and we decide that we don't like it, we just don't show it to anybody else. But if we do like something, we will then show it to other people, and it kind of like passes our sort of own quality assurance sort of thing there. So I suppose what I'm trying to say is, with being a creator, there is some element of fear, and it's a natural thing to have. What is obviously not so great is when you succumb to that fear. So it's about, I don't really know how I've managed to not succumb to it anymore, or I probably do occasionally. There's times where I've come up with an idea for a video, for example, and I've not gone ahead with it because I just felt as though it wouldn't necessarily have that much traction, and I don't think I'd be able to get the message out as much as I want. But like last week's video, for example, I kind of had this idea and I just ran with it, and I know that it could have backfired. I did a bit of voice acting in it and things like that. It could have backfired and people not like it, but people have enjoyed it, and it's been, particularly this year, one of my best viewed videos. And to me, in my eyes, it's kind of gone viral. I mean, it's only got like 40 views, but for my channel, that's quite a big thing for me. So had I not sort of like just pushed past like every time that I do a video, there's like this mental barrier of fear and things like that. Had I not done that and just thought, yeah, actually, do you know what? I'm just going to scrap this video idea. It's too much work, or nobody's going to watch it. There's no point doing it. And I might as well just not bother. Then nobody would have watched that video, and I wouldn't have had the interactions that I've had based from that video. So that's kind of like, I'm kind of like a sort of bit of a rambly sort of thing now. I'm hoping that I got some sort of point towards it. If there is any major point, it's there's no courage without fear. So just think of that, and yeah, and enjoy your time creating. It's an important part of being a creator. So until next time, ta-ra!